Welcome to Leadership in Tech, a bi-weekly podcast series on software engineering and product development. I'm your host, Pradipe Yoggi, a senior engineering leader with more than a decade of senior leadership experience in public and PE-backed tech companies. The views expressed by me or my guests are not the views of my employer or those of my guests' employers. Take a listen, share, subscribe, and comment. Welcome to Leadership in Tech. I have here my good friend Kamal Rajaram. He and I learned programming together in college, and we go back a long ways back. And he and I have taken different career paths in terms of companies we work for and the geographies we are in. But we are reconnecting here today to share some experiences that he has gained over the years, his wisdom from managing several large software projects. So, Kamal, is there anything you want to add to that intro?
Glad to be here, Pradeep. Excited to share my experience with you.
The
Thank
audience.
you. And the audience, yes.
Okay, good. So, here's my first question. You have had a long career in software development and program management. So, what led you into it?
I mean, like you said, we started our journey a long time ago. I guess like when we started, the IT industry was still in its infancy. I would say it was the next big thing at that time. So obviously, it was very exciting to get into that field. I started off as a software developer in systems programming. Very exciting space, and then moved on into commercial software development, and then being where I am in the Washington D.C. area, naturally I moved into the federal government contracting space, and then that's where I am right now. And also over a period of time, moved on from development to more like leading delivery, and then into project and program management.
Okay, good. So, what is it like, having been an engineer and an engineering lead and now a program manager? What is it like, the transition of roles that you've had?
Oh, I mean, I would say it's completely two different ends of the spectrum, right? I mean, when you are in engineering, or when you're more closely related to the service or product you're delivering, the thought process are completely different. You're talking about low-level efficiencies of what you're developing, design principles, architecture, user experience. So from that perspective, it's a completely different mindset that you need to have when you are working in the engineering space. On the other hand, when you're on the project and program management, the concerns that you have, the issues you have are very different. You're talking about maintaining good customer relationship, having a well-oiled delivery machine, right, so to speak, which is primarily people. So if you don't have that, you're going to have trouble with the delivery of your contractual obligation. So the two different things. I would say anybody who is coming from the engineering space, they'll probably have to make a conscious attempt to move into management.
Got it. So now you mentioned well-oiled machine in terms of people. So is there anything that specifically stands out as a skill or quality that you need to bring to the table in order to ensure that as a program manager that is keeping stakeholders satisfied and happy?
I think, different people have different styles, right? For me, the biggest thing is establishing personal relationships with everybody, right? I mean, with the team, with the customer, with the stakeholders. I think that goes a long way in managing all types of issues, whether it's within the team, across the teams, with the customer. So there's a lot that uh, can be handled when you have good established working relationship with all your stakeholders. And I mean, like including the team, right? The team members, individuals within the team, key people within the team. So everybody works together to deliver the final product. So anybody who's involved on both sides, delivery, customers, stakeholders. I don't think as a delivery person or a contracting professional, you can be successful with just getting the work done and not having any type of relationship with your customer. So I would say that's in my opinion, that's one thing that'll stand out for somebody who's in that role. And I think growing your skills in that space, how to establish good working relationship is pretty important. And I think that helped me a lot in my career.
Excellent. I guess it makes sense because you're largely working by influence, right?
You can say so. Yes. I mean, I don't know if it's influence in a negative way. It's
No,
more like
influence in a positive way is what I meant.
exactly right. I mean, positive way, and I think it goes both ways too. I mean, you have to listen as well, right? I mean, so you need to lend yourself to be influenced by others, right, including the customer, right? That's they are in a way, even though they have a contract, they have signed something on the dotted line, they can, when the rubber meets the road, I mean, they are going to influence you in terms of what they expect, in terms of what they want. So it's in a way that's an influence, right?
Right.
And you're going to influence your thoughts in what you're delivering. So yes.
Excellent. I worked with program managers for quite a bit, and I actually didn't see that this is a significant part of that role. Uh, in terms of ensuring success. And I think as you were saying some of the things, I could look back and see to some of the successful program managers, though they had all of the program management methods and everything in place. I think what really differentiated the people that you thought were great program managers were people that could really relate well to different stakeholders, be it the team members, the customers, the clients, right? So yeah, that's very insightful. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not to say there are other processes and procedures are not are not needed. Those are foundations, right? Those are the
Right.
basics. You're going to build on top of it. So if you don't have any of those, yeah, of course, if the foundation is not solid, you're not going to be able to build on top of that.
Yeah. So good. Thank you. So next question, how do you keep your engineering teams honest regarding deliverables and quality?
Okay, I would say one word, Agile. We have been practicing Agile methodologies for, I don't know, for how long I can remember.
Mhm.
As in, like, we haven't done anything in any of my teams other than Agile, right? In some shape or form. So, I mean, not by the book, but definitely Agile practices is what we use in most of my projects and teams. And yeah, I mean, naturally, all of those practices together help everybody, not just the team, right? Everybody to be honest. So, I mean, I'm talking about from the basics, like the founding principles of Agile to all the different practices that go into it, working closely with your product owners, product management teams, everything together is, I think, going to help everybody, to be honest, on both sides, right? So from the team to the customer. And I believe it naturally takes care of what's needed within the team from being honest on within the team to being like gaining trust between the team and the customer, the product owner, being fully engaged, ensuring the success of the team and its deliverable. So all work together. So in a sense, I think the kind of a structure, so to speak, that Agile gives you helps you in producing a really good value for the customer. And by Agile, I don't just generally mean a Scrum team. I'm talking about Agile at large as well, like I mean scaled Agile and any combination of Agile methodologies that will work for an organization. One thing I do want to say is it's different in every organization. It's based on the culture of the organization, like the setup that they are comfortable with. So I don't think it's a case where you can take one agile practice that works in one organization and exactly reproduce in others. Although I know like a lot of industry practitioners try to do that, they might be successful, which takes a certain discipline to make it successful. But in general, any form of agile uh, practice, I think I've found personally that it helps. Definitely.
Cool. That's great. So, what aspects of Agile is it like the cycle times that, say, I don't know, 2 weeks or a month long deliverable? Like, is the shorter cycle times really helping in terms of keeping things honest in terms of deliverables and quality?
I would say it's not just any one thing. I think it's a combination of things, right? I mean, of course, if you do one thing, it's going to help you with one small percentage of what you need to do. But I think
Right.
it's going to be a combination of things. Starting with, you know, just having the role of a product owner, right? To tell the team what exactly they are expecting. What is the value they are trying to get out of the team? I mean, that's the foundation, right? Right there. Instead of saying, like, here's your document, go read and figure out what you want, or, come back in 3 months and tell me what you got. So there's so many things. So, having that role, having an experienced Scrum Master to keep the, practices going, right? Having the team buy into the agile practices. I mean, that's a big deal too, right? I'm sure, like, I mean, 10 years ago, that would have been a thing, but I guess like now, everyone, at least, most large organizations, they're at least used to some form of, agile practice. So, um, you know, um, working in a sprint or in an iterative cycle, delivering things. When I say delivery, I don't mean like necessarily production ready size delivery. I mean like something that you can demo to your customer base, having them take a look at it, and having giving you feedback frequently on those things your team is trying to deliver. And also like the uh, adapt adapt cycle, right? Like where your team and your product management team or your customer working together, trying to see how you can improve on what the team is doing, right?
Mm.
All of that matters. So I can keep going on and on,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
There's so many practices. I would say it's not like you need to do everything. As many as you can do, the better it is in terms of the output your team can deliver.
Got it. So, would you say that it's your role or the role of a programmer or project manager to sort of make sure that everything is fitting together and producing the desired result? Like
Right. Yeah.
the role of the product owner being in place properly, the throughput being adequate,
Mhm.
the quality of requirements and the quality of deliverables and all that. So, because you mentioned that it's very you can't just transplant a process that works in one organization into another other organization.
Yeah.
There needs to be something that fits the culture and so forth.
Mhm.
So would you say that the program manager or the project manager would be the person that is sort of tying that together in the contracting business?
So in many contracts nowadays, it is established in the contract. There's a contractual language that says, hey, you don't not only deliver me what I want, you also deliver it in this fashion. So there will
Uh,
be language there that says, I'm expecting an agile, setup, a team or a group of teams that follow agile principles or agile methodologies. Of course, the language will vary, but you can kind of sense that that's kind of what they're expecting. So that's key. Many customers are asking for that, but there might be cases where the customer doesn't explicitly say that, yeah, I need this to be delivered in this particular fashion. But then from your perspective, you could say, if they don't say that, why not do it this way, right? So introduce it in Agile. If it doesn't cost extra, if it doesn't, you know, um, change the deliverable timeline or touch upon anything related to scope, then why not do Agile, right? It may not, I guess, fit in every contract. There might be some really, large contracts where the customer might specify you shall do it this specific way, and that is perfectly fine. I mean that's probably what they need, and that's probably what that particular program needs, right? I mean, that's different. But I'm saying, like, for most small, or when I say small, I mean like I guess more standardized product or service that the customer would like get. I and if they don't specify it, I would say introducing it on your own helps. And that's where I would say a project or program manager has some leeway, right? I mean, they can introduce that. I mean, nobody has to tell them, right? They could say, okay, I'm going to introduce this and I'm going to deliver it this way. Again, it may not work all the time and in every contract or for every customer, but that's, I would say, where the program or project or program manager does have some leeway.
okay, cool. So, what would you say are some challenges with managing engineers?
Um, More like opportunities for improvement, right? I think, again, I would say it's different. It's different in every program or in every organization, right? Because you don't. It's not something you can generalize, right? I mean, everybody is an individual. They who bring their own perspective, their own skills and experiences to the table. So every individual works differently, right? We think of like a team, like a team that kind of works together, but they're still all individuals with their own,
Yeah,
perspectives in life and what they bring to the table. So uh, more than considering it as a challenge, I would say as a leader, it'll be more important for you to look at what are everybody's strengths,
hmm,
use their strengths to gain the maximum from that individual for the betterment of the whole team and for delivering what you need for the customer. And obviously, if they have some weaknesses, work with them or help them work on their own to
yeah,
solve their weaknesses, right? Um, So to answer your question, I would say it's more like look at every individual as who they are, trying to figure out what they can bring to the table. I would say is probably a kind of a challenge, right?
yeah,
Because day one, it's not going to happen. So you're going to work with them over a period of time. So and in a short term project, it is going to be a challenge. So So that's where I would say, when you have structure like an agile setup, an agile methodology, you don't really need to tell them, hey, this is how you operate. It is known, like all involved parties, they know what is expected to work in a team like that. And if there's training needed, provide that. Otherwise, all involved parties should follow that particular practice that's going to be in operation for that particular team or program or organizational structure. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes people want to build the best solution possible,
Mhm.
and you, as a program manager, have to ultimately answer to the client and to the business in terms of delivering something that
Mhm.
is exactly what the client needs. I guess, have you had any challenges with that? Kind of like sometimes it can create a disagreement or like a conflicting priorities, so to speak, right?
Mhm.
So how do you manage those in a group?
I mean, that happens all the time, right? I mean, in every organization, no matter how big or small it is, there's always going to be um, one senior person and then another person who has a different perspective to how the thing can get done, right? Um, it is going to be a challenge um, based on the personalities involved, like how you have that working relationship with every individual. Use that relationship to get the best out of everyone. Have them talking to each other, right? Collaborate and come up with the best solution. Um, I in my case, what has worked, like I said, is having that relationship. Look at every possible option that is out there that is being put forward by everybody. And I've been fortunate where uh, the people I work with, they are all reasonable. They listen to each other, right?
Okay.
And they listen to every viewpoint. So kind of helped in coming up with a solution or architecture that works for the customer's benefit. Yeah, and it's an important question because the way you construct something matters, right? Because
Yeah.
that's going to tremendously impact the timeline and the cost involved. And also, there might be a case where there might be like the best solution in the world for what the customer is asking for. But what if you don't have the resources, right? How will that solve that problem? So there's just so many factors involved. Like it's not always the best technical solution, or even any solution, non-tech too, for every problem. It's also solution, how much time you have, what types of resources you currently have, right? I mean, of course, given money, you can go
Yeah.
and get any resource, but in the real world, that's not always possible, right? It takes
Yeah.
time. By the time you messed your deliverable, the contractual requirements. So I think I would say you use all your factors, and if others within the team have not considered them, then you bring that perspective to the team and ask them to consider that and may have them make the best decision.
Cool. Excellent. I think that's a very insightful answer. Might look self-evident on the surface of it, but I think I can see the fact that one, you got to use the people that you have and let the people that you have come up with the right solution. So I guess maximizing communication and collaboration seems to be like a key as a takeaway, um, as is the constraints that you're working with, and the
Yep.
fact that you know having reasonable
Uh-huh.
team members helps a lot. I guess.
Yeah. I mean, which also goes to say that, I mean, let's say you have like the best, uh, IT resource out there, but if that person doesn't want to collaborate with anybody else, it's like
Yeah,
my way or highway. That doesn't help your team in any way, right?
right. Yeah, cool. So in tech, what are you excited about right now?
Oh, surprise, surprise, AI, right? Isn't that the talk of the town
Yeah,
of the world? Um, I mean, that's the big deal now. I mean, if
yeah.
unless you're living under the rock.
So how do you see AI influencing, product development and software development?
Oh, it's scary, right? How much it can do, and how much at least what, if not what it can do now, at least the promise of what it can do. I mean, yeah, I mean, if you look at it, it auto generates code. It comes up with big, blobs of code that you can, grab from anywhere, any tool, any of the AI models, and just start inserting it in. I saw like a YouTube video the other day where somebody was just clicking and dragging and creating a whole website from start to finish in like under 15 minutes, right? And when I say website, this is not like a website with just one page or just the login screen. I'm talking about an entire working website where this person was creating, the whole customer experience in 15 minutes.
Wow.
Uh, so I said scary because I'm concerned about how the industry is going to evolve, the disruption it's going to bring to the whole IT industry. And it's going to upend all the well-established, uh, structures within the industry. And we are at kind of a moment where things are going to be very different than where we are right now, right? In the next 5 to even 10 years. And let's not even think about the next 20 years because I don't know, I mean, like 20 years ago, you had like the next big thing, which is like websites, internet,
Yeah.
right? 20, 25 years ago, that was a big thing. And then the dot-com bust happened. A lot of companies survived. They were able to build the next greatest things, then the mobile app, cloud. There's so many things that happened. But in that, I would say AI is, I would say at least 2 to 3 orders of magnitude the next big thing. So it's not just even an organic growth in the IT space. It's like the next thing. So whoever can figure out what they can do using AI will survive. Everyone
Yeah.
else will end up being followers, or I mean, they will probably get left out.
Right. Good points, all. And it's nothing like what we've seen so far, right? Like
Yeah,
even the mobile revolution didn't change things as much in terms of what it means to software development.
yeah,
It's quite very different because I think for the first time we are replacing, a core competency of humans, which is thinking and problem solving, uh,
totally.
right? With
Yeah,
uh, with statistical models that can do a close approximation in most cases.
yeah, yeah.
Um, interesting fact. Some years ago, I had just like a little programming test as a screening test. I just
Uh-huh.
do a little problem for them to write, and they can write it and send it back. And when ChatGPT came out in 2022 or whenever that was, I tried it out. Boom! It was like instantly. It was giving the best answer, the best
Yeah,
possible solution. Right? Like you're a developer that would give you a solution. It was able to give that. So, so that also appends hiring. Like hiring can no longer be done the same way.
yeah.
Lots of changes for sure.
You might have
Now,
to go back to in-person hiring. Remember those days?
yes. Yeah,
Right? I mean, where you invite people uh, to your
yeah,
uh, place and have a chat with them.
yeah,
Maybe we have to go back to that. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. It's like, yeah, I mean, for people who are going to use AI in devious ways, yes, it's going to be harder and harder to figure that out. And I hope there'll be other people who can come up with solutions that find these other
yeah,
group of people easily.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. One of the things that saw recently was, I think, somewhere in India, I think a company tried out um, having developers submit as a first level of filtering, use any AI tool, whatever, solve these problems. That's fine.
Yeah,
So they found that the majority of them didn't even know what was generated. So they couldn't substantiate what it was doing.
exactly.
They couldn't
Right.
understand. So I think the key to look for in hiring, like you said, when you get somebody in person,
Hmm.
you're going to be able to assess that because you
Yeah,
want a thinking human that can evaluate what the machine produces, the models produce, right? And be a good judge of the quality of it.
yeah.
So, yeah, I agree. So, I don't know if you've implemented any AI in your development process, but I'm sure you've talked to people in the industry or followed things around in the media and so forth, or newsletters and so forth. In your perspective, is there things that we need to be paying attention to when we adopt AI?
Okay, so when you say we, there's a lot of we
Yeah,
here, right?
I mean, when I say
So
we as professionals,
yeah, so as a
involved in
professional,
developing software
as
solutions.
an as a enterprise who is in the business of showing profits to their investors, as thought leaders, there's just so many perspectives to that. So I would say, as a professional, um, I would say make sure you follow your own or your organization's guidelines. I mean, that's very important. They are there for a reason. For
Yeah,
example, not sending out content, not sending out any data that is proprietary,
yes,
because you never know how that particular AI model will use your data, right? I mean, that's going to be a big point of concern for large enterprises. So
yeah,
that's one, right? Um, that's going to be very important. So that's if you are operating in a large enterprise or an organization, that's going to be important. As an individual, I would say, I mean, use it to the best of your abilities, right? As much as you as possible. But we all need to think about it. Like, if we are going to keep using AI as is, not adding a layer of value on top of it, then pretty soon you're going to be replaceable, right? So
yeah,
we need to think about, okay, yes, I mean, AI can do this. We can't just take what it gives and be a pass-through mechanism to your customer or your organization. We need to add some value on top of it. Uh, what it is going to be determined by you as an individual on a case-by-case basis. And I guess eventually that's what is going to matter, because if everything and everybody is going to be starting to use
yeah,
AI, then what is it that differentiates you from the next person? So I would say, come up with something that could be based on your own innate skill, right? Your God-given gift,
yeah,
your experience, your a combination of your natural talents, and see how that can be used on top of what AI can give you, or how AI can help you. I would say that is how you're going to come through in this new um, era. where it's AI assisted.
Yeah, that's very well said.
Yeah.
Just as an extension of that, or as a follow-on question, with new talent coming into the industry, right? This could be like people coming into the tech industry as new graduates or
Mhm.
people with relatively few years of experience. What would you give as an advice to those individuals, right, that are early in their careers in software development, given that there is AI now?
Yeah. I mean, it's harder to even give advice nowadays, right? I mean, it used to be just 5 years ago, we could say, hey, people who are thinking about or coming into the industry, you could say, do these things, to grow your career. It is, like I said, AI is disrupting everything. So it's going to be really hard to tell them in terms of even a technology space, do this or do that. So assuming that, it's really hard to even predict how or what they need to do. I would say keep learning, right? Learning is a lifelong mission. Keep
Yeah,
learning no matter what it is. Keep learning, don't stop. It doesn't have to be technology. It could be soft skills. It could be anything that will help grow your career. Know your strengths and weaknesses. You don't need to tell anybody, at
yeah,
least know what it is, right? uh, and start working on those weaknesses, because no matter how it is, what technology it is, what the future is, if you can work on your own self, grow yourself skills wise, knowledge, in terms of your personality, everything. I think it as a generic advice, that's kind of what I would say is important, right? I mean, keep growing yourself
yeah.
in many different, areas, not just technology or your own specialization.
Oh, it's not generic. I think it was actually a refreshing and honest view or advice, because ultimately, building on the earlier answer you gave about, what makes you different than the next person who's also going to use the same powerful technology, right?
Yeah,
It's going to be that unique set of personal traits and soft skills and so forth. And so, rightly, you saying that you should be working on those,
yeah,
and keep an inventory of what your strengths and weaknesses are, and keep bettering yourself. I think that's great advice. And then, I think I think it empowers anyone, including us, right, who are
yeah,
experienced, to focus on the one thing that we can control, right?
yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah, another advice I would probably give them is don't dwell on failures. You know, keep moving, um, because failures are going to happen. Like and you're not going to be successful all the time, every time. Keep on moving. Learn from your failures, missteps, probably even failures from people who you work with, and see, oh, that's something that I need to pay attention to, and then
yeah,
um, either come up with a solution to that, or don't you know make that mistake again. So I would say, in my case, that helps a lot.
yeah,
Right, learn from the mistake, because nobody's perfect.
yeah, for sure.
So uh, and also going along with that is knowing when you failed, right? When you made a mistake, that's also important. It's not obvious all the time, right?
Right,
You When you're uh, busy with what you're doing every day, you may not realize that, oops, that was not good, right? That's not something you should have done. And take a time once in a while to reflect on how, maybe not even the day, like the last week when, or the last month, what did you do that was successful, that actually helped? you yourself, the team, your organization, or what did you do that actually went the other way, right? And
Yeah.
then see if there's anything you can do to fix it. So I would say that constant reevaluation of how you yourself operate, I think helps also.
Yeah. So, speaking on the topic of missteps, did you have any missteps with, leading a project or a team, or even on an individual basis as an individual contributor in the past?
2 days.
Sorry, what?
I said in the past 2 days.
In the past, I just said. So, and how did you recover from it, and what did you learn from it?
Like I said, I mean, I don't think anybody's perfect, right?
Yeah.
Nobody can be perfect. So everybody makes mistakes. Recognizing that you are making a mistake is step one. Recognizing what you're doing is not the right thing to do is step one. Sometimes it's not obvious. So to me, I realized that after many, many years, right? Saying, oh, I'm not even realizing that I'm making a mistake. If you don't even know that, right, that you're making a mistake, how are you going to fix it, right? Sometimes when you're starting your career, maybe your manager, your lead, or your team members will tell you. But eventually, there's going to be a point where there's not going to be anybody who's going to tell you, right? As you grow, uh, the way they're going to tell you is fire you, right? That might be too late. So um, I would say that's the evaluation of your own self is an important aspect. Figuring out the mistakes, and that also is hard. Like, how do you know what you're doing is wrong or right? How do you know uh, what acts you're performing is disruptive? It's not helping your mission, or it's not helping you deliver the right product. So you can use some basic structures like, okay, let's say, hey, I'm using Agile methodology. There's some type of, a structure that says, if you do it this way, the industry best practice, then, yes, I mean, that is quote unquote right. I mean, that, hey, I did this based on what the thought leaders in this space already, figured out and told us it works. But there are other aspects, especially with, interpersonal relationships, soft skills. There's no real structure that helps you to say what I did, how I approach something or somebody is right or wrong. I guess those things come with experience, identifying what the output was, based on what you did, what you said, and if the output was not ideal, not necessarily, it cannot even be quantified if it's not ideal, or it's a self-measurement. You say, okay, I expected this output, but I got this, right? I got yelled at, or my team member was very upset, or, they left the company. So you could probably say, okay, this particular way of approaching this particular individual did not work. Maybe the same thing would have worked for some other individual, right? So would say identifying, that you're making a mistake is a big deal, and learning how to identify what you're making or what mistakes you're making is even more important. That's something that every person needs to learn for themselves. Right? I mean, there's no one answer to say, hey, if you follow A, B, and C, or if you start doing these things, write on a piece of paper, there is no structure like that. I guess that's what makes us humans unique, right?
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. So for somebody that is considering a move into project management or program management,
Uh-huh.
what do you, from your experience,
Oh, yeah.
what do you give as an advice?
A good question. I mean, see, I follow the path, right? So, I mean, for all the managers that I had before me, I used to think like, okay, I can do what they do, right? But I quickly learned that how incorrect that was. I mean, that was a stupid assumption on my part. As an engineer, you're delivering something, right? You're making something, but as a manager, you're leading an organization. You're um, responsible for ensuring, you know, your team or your organization delivers something for someone else who's paying for it.
Yeah.
Two different thought processes, right? Completely different. I would say when you are thinking of moving into the management space, either watch, observe, and learn, because I'm sure there's going to be always some type of a management layer, no matter where we work, where we operate, right? Observe those layers, right? Observe what they do, learn, make an attempt to actually either read, gain experience, uh, collect knowledge in that space before venturing into that, right? Um, I myself used to think, yeah, I mean, it's not a big deal. I mean, one day I'm on the engineering side, and the next day I could be on the management side. That's completely untrue, right? Uh, in fact, if there is a way for somebody to ease into that, that'll be the best, because then you have somebody to help you, to mentor you, to guide you, uh, learn the ropes before jumping full on into that space. I think that's going to be a big revelation for anyone who thinks they can just quickly move from here, irrespective of what skills they have, what personality traits they have. I mean, they might make a good leader, but that swap from one competency to another, I don't think is an overnight thing.
Yeah.
It happens over a period of time. Yes.
Right. Excellent. As with many things that I know from you, you have thought through things pretty deeply when you give an answer. So that's good. Um, and, in closing,
Mhm.
a couple of questions. What is like a method or a system or rule of thumb that has served you well in your career?
Man, you're making me think harder now. There's a rule or method.
I mean, successful actions, really. That's what I ask.
I don't know if there's any one thing. There's many things, right? I mean, like
Right, right.
um, uh,
Yeah,
you
you can
discussed.
name a few that comes to
Yeah, I
mind.
mean, I learned very quickly. You get nowhere without having very good relationships, right? I mean, that's something that I learned quite early. Being an individual contributor, like working on your own, like it only gets you so far, right? I mean, you could be like the best engineering talent. You could be like coming up with the next greatest, technological advancement. But let's say you're doing this all on your own. It's going to be super hard to even anybody to recognize what you're doing, right?
Mm,
And how you do that, I mean, of course, in a team, you're going to have some forums, some method where you can highlight your accomplishment. But going beyond those established forums, just even having um, an off-site conversation, right? Or having like in a virtual environment, like having a conversation with a thought leader in your team, or even a management person within your organization about like what you like to do, what you want to do, what you have done, right? What you like the next greatest idea that you have, that probably will help. And I think that has helped me in many different situations. Be something that will help you, grow, but that's not what you're looking for, right? If you're happy with an acceptance of what you've done, and if you believe you have the greatest idea, and in your current structure, that's not going to happen because you are, constrained by your day-to-day responsibilities and stuff. I would say have the courage, maybe bring yourself to go talk to anybody who can probably help you kind of like make that idea a reality, or showcase what you have done, or help you go build the next biggest thing. So definitely do not be kind of like in your own world. Reach out
Yeah.
in any different direction that you can, and don't be shy about that.
Yeah. It's very well said. It can be forgotten, the value of relationships and the value of being able to take inputs from others, seek inputs actively. Um, so, yeah, this was very insightful actually for me personally here, and I'm sure for the listeners. So, if you weren't in, one last question is like, if you weren't in tech,
Mm-hmm.
what completely different career would you have pursued, and why?
Oh, that was a good question. So, like I said, I mean, I guess when we both started, right? I mean, IT was the next big thing. I had an entirely different career plan, well laid out, thought out before that, right? I was going to be an accountant. Right? I mean, I even uh, had completed, some professional certifications in accounting before moving into this career.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, they say what is certain in life? Death and taxes. And who do you go to for your taxes? Your accountant. I mean, I said accountant, more like your CPAs,
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
who keep your books in good order and help you with taxes. So my thought process was, no matter what happens, like whether it's AI, non-AI, whether we will go back to 200 years, there was always some form of accounting needed by everybody, right?
Right.
So that was going to be my uh, you know career. My that's, in fact, I had a well thought of plan, and then this thing called IT came in and disrupted everything for
Yeah.
for good measure. I have no regrets at all. So
Would you say some of the skills that you learned from, your accounting studies and financial studies, perhaps in some way has influenced how you think about things in terms of
oh, absolutely,
managing these
yeah. I
large
mean,
projects?
yes, definitely. The core concept of there is income and expense, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it any problems, any solution that you have, I can clearly think in terms of, how much does it cost, per hour rate, what is it going to take, if you need to extend this scope, if you need to extend this time. So I it just naturally comes to me because of that particular background. I didn't have to, learn. I didn't have to take any extra courses or training or anything. It just happens naturally for me because of that foundation that I had a long time ago. Just thinking of any problem in terms of the cost involved.
Yeah, it's very key to successful management and execution of large-scale
Absolutely.
programs.
Yeah.
I'm glad you have that. And I myself have a little bit of an accounting background, though I would say that I've not gone as far as you did. But I think that to a certain extent has helped in terms of like being very cost conscious when leading product development or doing, investigation of what is the best possible route to get to a certain point in terms of delivering a feature. Great. Anything else you want to say?
The money, right? I mean, it all comes down.
Exactly.
I mean, in the capitalistic model we live in, it's all about who produces the best value for the least amount of money.
Yes,
right?
Exactly right. Exactly right. Anything you want to say in closing? Come.
Thank you, Pradeep, for offering me this opportunity to share my thoughts and experiences, and thank you for all those insightful questions. I mean, it's like some of those they are really good questions. It's like, I'm now thinking, like I said, like, did I do the right thing? And did I take the right decisions on all those? So very insightful questions. So in this 1 hour alone, while I was answering, I was actually reevaluating certain things I've done in the past. Thank you for providing me that opportunity to, evaluate in real time what I have done. But I hope, your listeners will get something out of this conversation. And I'm happy to share, any questions anyone has. So feel free to reach out to me.
Yeah, great. Just like you, I also had a set of realizations as you were answering these questions. So that's one of the things that I love about these podcasts. It's sort of a deep dive. And unlike a normal human conversation, I'm listening. I'm like listening 98% of the time. So it actually allows for information to flow very freely. And when you're fully in listening mode, you can take away insights that you would miss in a regular human conversation. At least that's how I find these sessions. So I thoroughly enjoy these interviews. And I tell you, this was amazing, very insightful. So thank you so much for being on here. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Pradeep.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Bye. Thank you for listening. I hope you found this episode insightful. Join me for the next episode in 2 weeks where I interview another guest.